So let's talk about the good money revolution, because this is, I'd love to know like some of the key takeaways as you see it from your book. And obviously, this is not an excuse to not read it and take this as the cliff notes, but
Sure,
if
sure.
there were to be a cliff notes, like what are the things you want people to know about it?
Well, I'll tell you one of my favorite stories out of the book, and it's a true story. A client named Dave came into my office many years ago. And you know those relationships, Justin, where you can just tell by looking at the person something's wrong? That's how it was with Dave. We had a close relationship with he and his wife, and it was just him that came in that day. After some small talk, I said, Dave, look, I can tell the weight of the world looks like it's on your shoulders. Spill it. What's going on? And he said, Derek, he said, the business is doing great. He said, my kids are involved. We're making good money and so forth, but I'm just not into it. He said, I've lost my passion for the business. I'm mailing it in every single day. And I paused for a moment, and what came out of my mouth next still surprised me, but it really helped launch this whole item was, is there a cause that you care deeply about, Dave? Well, he was stunned by the question. He pulled back a little bit and he said, well, it's funny you asked because a couple of years ago, I took my family on a trip overseas in this village that we went to. The guide mentioned that this particular area needed a schoolhouse. The children were severely undereducated, and a schoolhouse would help them significantly. And as a family, we all sort of said, hey, wouldn't it be cool to fund a school here? But we got back to the States, got back in the business, life got busy, dream put on hold. I said, what if you did this? What if over the next year you said you're going to increase your sales in your business by X% and you're going to take half of that growth and fund that school? Well, his eyes got as big as saucers. He got excited, reinvigorated. He comes back in about 3 months later. He looks younger. He's enthusiastic. He's all in. He says, Derek, you're not going to believe this. We picked a generosity purpose, and they had a small manufacturing company, and they picked a cause that would resonate with their clients and so forth, and with them. They were already up 20% within that 3 month period. They'd already funded half of that school. Now, here was a guy that barely showed any emotion at all, but we were two guys in the room really holding the tears back, because when you see that the words you've said have helped extract potential out of someone, man, it's powerful. So that story there is one I think a lot of people are ready to live right now, that if they're asking themselves, look, I want more meaning in my business. I want to make more money, but how do I connect my meaning and money together? That's a magical way to do it. And another story I'll tell you real quickly. I was in the office catching up on a Saturday morning, and you see the voicemail light blinking, and eventually you say, you know what, I shouldn't do it, but I need to listen to this message. And it was a woman on the other end, and a frantic voice said, Derek, somehow I bounced a check and you were the first person I thought to call. I think I'm going to go to jail. Well, okay, when someone says they feel like they're going to go to jail over a bounced check, I could either wait and call them back on Monday or call them back right then. I knew that news was going to get really stagnant over the weekend. I called her back and I said, tell me what happened. She said, well, I forgot to move money from my checking to my savings. Can you help me with this? I said, look, first of all, you're not going to go to jail. You're not going to get fitted for, prison wardrobe or anything. But I said, out of curiosity, what made you think that? And she tells me this story. She said, growing up, my dad got a call from a store owner, and my dad had accidentally bounced a check. And the owner said to my dad, I'm going to call the cops and we're going to try to put you in jail for this. And so she thought this was a 50-year-old woman, that if you bounce a check, you go to jail. And what that taught me was, a lot of people listening may have bad money beliefs that they were taught or observed that has held them back from reaching their financial potential. So this book is all about identifying what those bad beliefs are. How do we restructure those? Because I don't believe, until you're dead, you can still make an impact in the world. And so that's what I want people to do is, look, learn from your past, but your past has passed. It's time to really focus on the future here.